up here. Sorry about that. I promise it's going to be of good use, though, later. So, thank you first for attending. I know you guys have a busy schedule today, so I really appreciate it. When a tropical storm turned into something so devastating that it was remembered in name as Yolanda, Facebook was the first place that I learned about this. My homepage quickly transformed as news stations and friends were posting stories that were aggregating into a top-level view of a natural disaster unfolding. In years past, though, the main platform that I would learn about this was television. But the problem that I saw at that point was that it would be days or even weeks before I would hear the individual voices that made the events real. And what it can never capture was the real personal impact that photos from friends and stories from friends could provide. With Yolanda, the voices became real time. Platforms like Facebook and Twitter and Google made that possible. At that point, I was so personally connected, where I was living the stories that I was hearing from friends and friends of friends. And all I could left feeling was, how can I help? Pages went up quickly as people with relatives were scrambling to figure out ways to help. Events for fundraising popped up. Friends were making personal calls to action while making sure stories were being told. And people were finding people, but you guys know that. But what was really, really amazing for me was to see the quick mobilization from people within my organization and teams. I was lucky enough to work with a colleague who was able to quickly send out a message to the entire company and rally engineering resources to send out to the Philippines, to work alongside developers here who were creating solutions in real time. On top of that, our product team, they were able to quickly develop and launch a product to create donations. And within a few days, millions were raised. That week, I learned 3 things. 1, technology and the internet can scale impact at a rate that it never has been seen before. 2, the power of connecting people. And 3, the power of people who want to take action. You see, technology and the internet, they created these new opportunities to react and to connect people with people who were continents apart. But ultimately, it was the people themselves who felt empowered, who had the will to take change and take action. So that's why I'm here today, because I want to think about how many more opportunities that we could create like this. So Facebook's mission has always been about making the world more open and connected. Everything we do is about giving people the power to connect. Internet.org was from the recognition by Mark Zuckerberg that in order to make the world more open and connected, we need to be able to give internet to the 2/3 of the world that have yet to be connected. And if we can develop the right technology, and if we can develop the right partnerships, well, then it's all going to be up to you guys, because we will be the ones in power to make that change. So today, I'm going to talk about internet.org and free basic services. Before I begin, let me play a quick pick.
The way the world works is changing. We used to live in an economy that was primarily resource-based, which meant that if I owned something, you can also own the same thing. But the future of the world economy is a knowledge economy. Me knowing something doesn't prevent you from also knowing it, because we can share knowledge and information. Imagine a world where everyone had access to education and healthcare information, a world where farmers could look up information to improve their crop yields and students could consult Wikipedia to help out with their homework. The internet is really the backbone of the knowledge economy. If everyone had access to those basic tools, we'd all be able to benefit from all of the innovation and creativity and ideas that everyone had. Our plan is to make basic internet services affordable so that everyone with a phone can join the knowledge economy. In order for this to be economically feasible, we need to make the internet 100 times more affordable. And we can do this through a combination of two things: reducing the cost to serve that data by 10x, and reducing the amount of data by 10x as well. First, to reduce cost, there are going to be a lot of things that we do, from building out infrastructure that makes signals travel farther so that way we don't have to build out as many cell phone towers, to cleaning up the airwaves and using spectrum more efficiently, to building out low-cost, open-source hardware and phones. And second, we also need to reduce the amount of data to supply these basic services, and we think we can do that in a few ways. First, we can just make our apps cache data instead of having to request data every time that they want to look something up. And second, they can compress the data so they only have to transfer 40% of the data that they would otherwise have to if it weren't compressed. When I was getting started with Facebook, I could build it because I had access to the internet and a few basic tools that gave me what I needed to build this for the world. And if we can get to a point where everyone around the world has access to those same tools, then everyone is going to be able to benefit from the innovation and ideas and hard work of billions of people around the world.
So as you can see, we're making great strides in investing in technology to make the internet more affordable. But we're also maximizing what's existing today. Now, what does that mean? Well, the world sits on cellular infrastructure that covers 85% of the world's population. That's 85%. But only 30% of the world's population actually has access. Now, why is that? Well, one, affordability. It's not cheap to get data. I mean, how many of you today have an unlimited data plan? Anyone? Okay. So you guys are in the minority because it's really, really expensive. But that's an opportunity for us to think about a new economic model that can make this sustainable for telecoms to offer free services around that. The second, awareness. People just don't find value in data. I know that's hard to believe given that you guys are the capital of the selfies, right? Is that it? But there are people out there that don't find value. And it's because they don't have the time or the resources to invest in understanding new services and new information. And there's an opportunity there as well. Because at that point, we can work with global and local content providers to create an experience that's more usable and understandable. So if you think about it, the barriers to getting the next billion onto the internet, it's not physical infrastructure. It's really accessibility. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're working with mobile operators, you know, the ones that are covering 85% of the world's population. Well, we're working with them to break down these barriers. And we've already taken steps to test out some models. So many of you, and hopefully you've seen this deal. How many are familiar with the free Facebook deal in the Philippines? At some point? Good. You guys have all tested it. That's awesome. Well, in fact, the Philippines was one of our first successful test bed for the concept of free services. And we did this partnering with Globe. And Globe was, in fact, the first telecom to offer the world free Facebook to its millions of customers. And what we've seen in the Philippines, well, it was astounding. Internet and data usage doubled. Now, how can we scale this? Well, from this test, we realized that we can evolve this program in two ways. One, we can make this economically sustainable so it can scale to additional mobile operators so that they can also provide free services and still continue to support the infrastructure necessary to provide connectivity to people. And second, we realized from the learnings and the partnerships that there was an opportunity to expand this outside just free service of Facebook. In fact, there's an opportunity to add on additional services. And this is what's exciting, because we want to help operators by providing them an access to a suite of free basic services that fall in a number of different categories, such as health, education, and information. And by making the internet accessible, we can hopefully have a larger impact and bring people on who wouldn't have in the first place. And so we're already taking the first step. We launched the internet.org in Zambia back in July. In Zambia, Airtel network users were offered a set of free basic services. These services included Google, Wikipedia, Go Zambia Jobs, Facts for Life, Mama for Health, and Easy Library, which gave them resources on the Zambian constitution and laws. So you might ask, well, how were we able to compile these services? Well, we worked with Airtel and we worked with the local governments. But most importantly, we worked with a lot of people on the ground who understood the local communities better than we could. And our hope in working with them was to bring services that would actually provide impact and be of use. So as a starting point, we realized that a lot of these services fall within 5 major categories: information, health, finance, communication, and education. But within each country, as Zambia isn't going to be the only one, we're hoping that we can provide these services that fall under there, but may even fall outside depending on what's needed in the country. And to ensure the experience is consistent and good, well, we're delivering an experience that covers both smartphone and feature phone users through 3 major access points. So the first access point is the standalone app on Android. So any user of an Android phone, a smartphone, can go into the Play Store and download this app directly. On top of that, if they already have the Facebook app on Android, they can easily go into the menu and access internet.org and free basic services from there. And for feature phone users, we built out a mobile web experience so that they can access internet.org on mobile web or go through facebook.com on mobile web. So here is a quick video showing how the experience works. As you can see, the user can tap into the app and scroll through all the services available there. What it does is it takes them to the content and they can immediately interact. Here's another example for weather. And this is an experience on a feature phone. It's a pretty basic concept. A lot of technology companies are pursuing it, which I'm actually excited about because this is a problem that can't just be solved by one. So when I think about 2030 now, I am so excited about the creativity and innovation that's going to be possible. But you all have to realize that the possibilities are really only confined to the people who have access. Don't rob yourself from the possibilities that billions of people can provide. So at Facebook, we actually have posters all over the campus, but there's always been one poster that's really struck a chord with me. What would you do if you weren't afraid? It's a pretty powerful question, because at some point or the other, you have been afraid of something. And something that I can imagine all of you have experienced is the fear of not knowing. Not knowing an important piece of information that could perhaps gain an opportunity, or not knowing a piece of information that might make you look like a fool in front of people, or even information that might put you in danger. Well, what if you had all that information at the palm of your hand? This is the question and the problem that we want to answer. So thank you today for your time. And let me know if you have any other questions about internet.org. I'll be here around. Thank you.